Hey guys, a very good day to you all. In this today's video, we will be understanding in detail about the periodic trends in electronegativity. So basically, we will understand how electronegativity varies as we move across the period and as we move along the group. But before understanding the trends, guys, have you ever wondered why does the electronegativity vary why does the electronegativity changes as we move across the period and as we move along the group? So basically, to answer your question, there are three main basic factors that you need to consider. So first of all, we will understand the factors which are affecting the electronegativity, and then we will understand the trends in the electronegativity. So to understand the factors, let's move on to my book. So basically, there are three factors that are responsible for changes in the properties. The first one is number of energy levels. Now, this energy level is also called as shell. So let us understand how this factor is going to affect the properties of the elements. So for that, what I am going to do is that I am going to consider a sodium atom which is present in the third period. Okay, and as we all know that the electronic configuration for sodium is nothing but 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 and 3s1. Now if I want to show this sodium atom diagrammatically, so what I am going to do is that first of all I am going to draw a positively charged nucleus over here. Okay, now in the first energy level, there are only two electrons present. Okay, next in the second energy level, there are 2 plus 6, total 8 electrons present. Am I right? And if I consider the third energy level, so inside this third energy level there is only one electron present. Okay. So this is an atom of sodium. Similarly, what I am going to do is now I am going to consider an atom of potassium which is present in the fourth period. Okay, so as we all know that the electronic configuration of potassium is nothing but 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6 and 4s1. First of all, if I want to show this potassium atom diagrammatically, what I am going to do, I am going to draw a positively charged nucleus over here. Then in the first energy level, my drawing is not good over here guys. So in the first energy level there are two electrons. Okay, now in the second energy level, again there are 2 plus 6, 8 electrons. And if I show the third energy level, so inside this third energy level again there are 2 plus 6, 8 electrons. Okay guys, and here there is one more energy level, that is nothing but the fourth energy level. So inside this fourth energy level there is one electron. Now what I want you all to observe over here is that this sodium atom is nothing but present in the third period. Am I right? It is present in the third period, and this potassium atom is present in the fourth period. And if you observe one thing over here is that, Sodium is present in the third period, therefore it has 3 energy levels. Whereas potassium, which is present in the fourth period, has 4 energy levels. So can I say, guys, the period number indicates how many energy levels are going to be present inside a atom. So if I consider any atom in the fourth period, all of them are going to have 4 energy levels. Similarly, if I consider any atom present inside the fifth period, are going to have 5 different energy levels. Okay, so whether it be your first period or whether it be your second period, all the period number are going to indicate the respective number of energy levels present inside the atom. Now if I consider the first group, okay, now in the lithium there are 2 energy levels. When I move from lithium to sodium, I get 3 energy levels. So can I say, as I moved from lithium to sodium, there is increment in energy level by 1. One energy level is getting added. Similarly, as I move from sodium to potassium, again one more energy level is getting added. And again, if I move from potassium to your rubidium, then again there is one more energy level added. Similarly, can I say, if you consider any of the groups, then as you move from one period to the next period, that if you move from the fourth period to the fifth period, one energy level is going to get added. As you move from the fifth period to the sixth period, again one more energy level is going to get added. So along the group, if you move from top to bottom, there will be increment in the energy level by 1. Am I right? So since there is an increase in the energy level, this is going to affect the properties. Now how it is going to affect, that we will see when we understand the properties individually afterwards. Just now, for now, you need to keep in mind that as you move along the group, there is increment in the energy level. Okay. Similarly, if I consider the second factor, the second factor is nothing but nuclear charge. Now what is the meaning of this? From the name itself we can see nucleus. So nuclear charge nothing but the charge of the nucleus. So the charge of this positively charged nucleus is nothing but known as the nuclear charge. Now can I say that this charge of the nucleus, which is nothing but the nuclear charge, is because of the protons present inside the nucleus? As we all know that the protons are positively charged, so when all these protons are present inside this nucleus, therefore the charge of the nucleus is positive. Now what I want to tell you all here is that number of protons is directly proportional to the nuclear charge. Now what is the meaning of this? If the number of protons is greater, then it is obvious that the nuclear charge will also be greater, because this nuclear charge completely depends on the protons. Greater the number of protons, the nuclear charge will be greater. Similarly, if the number of protons is less, then it is obvious that your nuclear charge is also going to be less. And if I ask you one question, how do you get to know the number of protons present inside the atom? This number of protons is nothing but the atomic number. So if the atomic number of this particular sodium is 11, which means that there are 11 protons present inside this nucleus. So the atomic number is going to tell you all the number of protons present inside the nucleus. So now if the number of protons is completely dependent on the atomic number, can I say that the atomic number is directly proportional to protons? Because if you increase the atomic number, then it is obvious that the protons in the nucleus are also going to increase. And as we have seen over here, that the number of protons is also directly proportional to the nuclear charge. So can I relate all three of them as, suppose if I increase the atomic number. So if I increase the atomic number, then it is obvious that the number of protons inside the nucleus are going to increase. So if the number of protons is going to increase, then it is obvious that the nuclear charge of the nucleus is also going to increase. Similarly, if I decrease the atomic number, it is obvious that the nucleus will contain less number of protons. And if the nucleus contains less number of protons, then obviously the nuclear charge will also be less. Now, can I relate both of them directly? That greater the atomic number, greater will be the nuclear charge, less the atomic number, less will be the nuclear charge, as they all are directly proportional to each other. I hope you have understood how nuclear charge is going to vary according to the elements because of the change in atomic number. Now, the third factor is nothing but the most important factor actually. You need to understand this. The shielding effect, which is also known as the screening effect. Okay. Now, what is this shielding effect all about? Let's understand this. Suppose if I consider a sodium atom again. So I have a positively charged nucleus over here. In the first energy level, I am going to have 2 electrons. In the second energy level, as we all have seen, there will be 8 electrons. And in the third energy level, there will be only 1 electron present. Okay. Now what happens in shielding effect is that, let's understand that. See, this nuclear charge which is present on this nucleus. So can I say that this nuclear charge is positively charged? Am I right? This nucleus is positively charged and these electrons are negatively charged. Now since the nucleus is positively charged and the electrons are negatively charged, and as we all know that the opposite charges are going to attract each other. Now since they attract each other, there is Coulombic force of attraction present between them. So there is a Coulombic force of attraction present between a positively charged nucleus and the electrons which are around the nucleus. Because of this Coulombic force of attraction, these electrons are not allowed to move outside the atom, and because of the presence of the Coulombic force of attraction, the electrons remain bounded to the nucleus. If there would have been absence of Coulombic force of attraction, then it is obvious that the electrons would have easily moved outside of the atom. Now this is only because of the Coulombic force of attraction that the electrons are bounded to the nucleus. Now what happens is that, suppose if I consider this electron and the nucleus. Now since this nucleus is positively charged and this electron is negatively charged. Therefore, this nucleus will try to attract this electron towards itself. But while it is attracting, what happens is that the electrons which are present inside the second energy level, so these electrons are going to repel, they are going to repel this electron away. Why they are going to repel? Because these electrons are negatively charged and this electron is also negatively charged, and as we all know that the like charges repel each other. So whenever this electron tries to come closer to the nucleus, it will be repelled by the electrons present in the inner energy level. Similarly, when this electron, the electron which is present in the second energy level, tries to come towards the nucleus, it will be repelled away by the electron which is present in the first energy level. So can I say that the inner energy level electrons, the inner energy level electrons repel outer energy level electrons? Am I right? The second energy level electrons are repelling the third energy level electron. The first energy level electrons are repelling the second energy level electrons. So similarly, can I say that the inner energy level electrons are going to repel the outer energy level electrons? So this is known as the shielding effect. Now why it is known as the shielding effect? Why it is being given the name as shielding? Because these second level energy level electrons act as a shield. They act as a shield for this third energy level electron and does not allow this electron to get pulled towards the nucleus. The nucleus is trying to pull this negatively charged electron towards itself, but these electrons, the energy levels electrons, are acting like a shield for this third energy level electrons, and they are not allowing this third energy level electron to come near to the nucleus, and they are trying to push him away and help him to not get towards the nucleus. I hope you have understood what is shielding effect. We will understand this shielding effect in depth as we understand the atomic size, variation in atomic size properties very soon. So I hope guys you have understood the three basic factors that are responsible for changes in the properties. Now I would like to mention one thing over here guys. Whichever diagram I have drawn over here, if I consider this diagram, now these circles which I have drawn, these circles are nothing but energy levels. They are energy levels. I have represented the energy levels with the help of these circles. These circles are not orbits. These circles are not orbits. And let me tell you all guys that many of you have a misconception that electrons revolve in an orbit. That is the biggest misconception that you all have when it comes to chemistry. Electrons do not revolve in orbits, and let me clear myself that these circular paths are not orbits. Instead, I have represented the circular, I have drawn the circular paths to represent the energy levels. I repeat myself again. These circular paths are not orbits. These circular paths I have drawn to represent the energy levels. Now, what is the difference between the energy levels and orbits? If you all don't know that guys, then please I request you all to clear the basic concepts of chemistry. And if you all want to know the difference and the real fact behind the atom, structure of an atom, then guys I have already made one video on quantum numbers and shapes of orbital. Now you might be thinking that you all know what is quantum numbers and shapes of orbital. But no guys, in that video I have explained many concepts which are going to help you all a lot. I'm seriously telling you all that these concepts are going to help you all a lot. So guys, make sure you watch that video. The link is given in the description box below, or you all can simply click on this link which is present on the I button over here. And if you all watch that video, guys, minimum 2 to 3 questions will be asked in the JEE from that one particular video. So I hope you guys will watch that video. So guys, let's start with the next property, that is electronegativity. So we will understand how electronegativity changes as we move across the period, and we'll understand how electronegativity changes as we move along the group. But before understanding the trends, it is necessary for us to first know what is electronegativity. If I tell you all in simple words, electronegativity is nothing but the ability of atom to attract electrons towards itself. Okay, so in simple words, if I had to define electronegativity, electronegativity is nothing but the ability of an atom to attract electrons towards itself. Now, as we all know that the nucleus has the nuclear charge, am I right? And this nuclear charge is completely dependent on the number of protons. So if the number of protons are greater, then it is obvious that the nuclear charge will also be greater. And when will be the number of protons greater? When the atomic number is greater. So if we want to understand electronegativity across period, so for that what I am going to do is that I am going to consider the fourth period as our example. So as you can see over here, if the atomic number increases, then the nuclear charge increases. Am I right? So can I say over here that when I am moving from left to right, the atomic number is increasing? Can you see over here? It is changing from 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 and so on. So can I say that as I am moving from left to right, the atomic number is increasing? Am I right? So can I say that when I am moving from left to right, if the atomic number is increasing, so it is obvious that the nuclear charge is going to increase. So when I am moving from left to right, the nuclear charge is going to increase. Now what is the job of the nuclear charge which the nucleus holds? So the job of the nuclear charge is nothing but to attract electrons. Am I right? I have explained this earlier that the job of the nuclear charge is nothing but to attract the electrons and keep them binded in an atom. So why does the nuclear charge attracts the electrons towards itself? Because the nuclear charge, which is nothing but the charge of a nucleus, is positively charged, because inside the nucleus there are protons and protons are positively charged, and as we all know that our electrons are negatively charged and opposite charges attract each other. There is a Coulombic force of attraction between the positively charged nucleus and the negatively charged electron. So basically what happens is that greater the positive charge, that is greater the positivity, greater it has the ability to attract a negatively charged particle, which is nothing but an electron towards itself. So can I say that greater the nuclear charge, which means the positive charge is greater, and if the positive charge is greater, then it will highly attract the negative charge. And what is our negatively charged? The electrons. So can I say that if the nuclear charge is greater, then which means that the positive charge is greater, and if the positive charge is greater, which means that it can easily attract a negatively charged particle, which is nothing but our electron. So here can I conclude that when I am moving from left to right, if my nuclear charge is increasing, so can I say that my ability to attract electrons is also increasing? Why? Because as I'm moving from left to right, my nuclear charge is increasing, which means that the positive charge is increasing, and if the positive charge is increasing, then the elements can easily attract the electrons. So can I conclude that in any period, we had taken in our example the fourth period, but if you consider any of the periods, and as you are moving from left to right, the atomic number is going on increasing, it is never decreasing. Okay, so for any period if you move from left to right, the electronegativity, which is nothing but the ability to attract electrons, is going to increase. Okay, now we have seen how the electronegativity is going to vary across the period. Now it is our job to understand how electronegativity will vary as we move along the group. So for that, what I am going to do here is that I am going to consider the first group for our understanding. Okay, now when I am considering the first group, I am not going to consider all the elements, because then this video won't end. The only thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to consider the first and the second element. So if you understand the trend between the first and the second element, then you can easily understand the trend between the remaining elements. Okay, so let's write, first of all, let's write the electronic configuration of lithium. What is the electronic configuration of lithium? It is nothing but 1s2 and 2s1. Similarly, what is the electronic configuration of sodium? It is nothing but 1s2, 2s2, 2p6 and 3s1. Now if I had to draw the diagrammatic representation for lithium, then first of all what I am going to do, I am going to draw a nucleus, and in the nucleus, since the atomic number of lithium is 3, therefore it is obvious that there will be 3 protons inside the nucleus. Then the next job is that I am going to draw the first energy level. Now inside this first energy level there are 2 electrons, so I am going to draw 2 electrons over here. Now in the second energy level, as you can see over here, in the second energy level there is only 1 electron present. Am I right? And if I had to draw the diagram for sodium, what I am going to do is that first of all I am going to draw the nucleus, and inside the nucleus, since the atomic number of sodium is 11, therefore there will be 11 protons. Okay, then the next thing that I am going to do is that draw the first energy level. Now inside this first energy level there are only 2 electrons present, so I am going to draw first and second. Now inside the second energy level there are 2 plus 6, total 8 electrons present. So first, second, third, fourth. Now inside the third energy level, can you see guys over here that inside this third energy level there is only 1 electron present. Now suppose if I had to add a electron in an lithium atom, so this is our diagram of lithium, and suppose I had to draw. So guys, now after understanding how the electronegativity is going to vary as we move across the period, now it is time for us to understand how the electronegativity is going to vary as we move along the group. Now to understand this, we need to take an example of one group. So for that, let us take an example of the first group. Now inside this first group I am not going to consider all the elements, but instead I am going to consider the first 2 elements. So if you understand the trend for the first 2 elements, then it is easier for you to understand the trend for the remaining elements. So let's consider the first 2 elements, and let us see how the electronegativity changes as we move from the first element to the next element. Okay, so First of all, what is the electronic configuration of lithium? It is nothing but 1s2 2s1. What is the electronic configuration of sodium? It is nothing but 1s2 2s2 2p6 and 3s1. Okay. Now, if I want to represent this lithium diagrammatically, how I can represent? First of all, I will draw a nucleus, and this nucleus is positively charged, and this positive charge of nucleus is nothing but known as the nuclear charge. Now, the next job I have to do is that to draw the first energy level. Inside this first energy level, there are two electrons present, the first electron and the second electron. Inside the second energy level, there is only one electron present. Now, let's draw the diagram for the sodium atom. So first of all, the nucleus has a nuclear charge which is nothing but positively charged. Then inside the first energy level, again there is two electrons. Inside the second energy level, again there are 2 plus 6, 8 electrons. Okay. Now, inside the third energy level, there is only one electron. Now, what does our definition of electronegativity tell us? Electronegativity is nothing but the ability of an atom to attract the electron towards itself. So can I say, since this lithium is shorter, that is it is less in size, small in size, so the nuclear charge has to cover a lesser distance to attract an electron which is present somewhere nearby to it. Whereas this sodium atom is bigger in size. So since it is bigger in size, can I say that the nuclear charge has to cover a longer distance to attract a electron which is somewhere closer to it? Am I right? See, sodium has 3 energy levels. Therefore, the atomic radius of sodium is greater, as we have seen just now. Okay. Whereas the atomic radius of lithium is less. Therefore, the nucleus of the lithium has the shortened distance to be covered in order to attract an electron which is closer to it. Whereas the nucleus of sodium has a greater distance to be covered to attract an electron which is closer to it. So that is the reason that lithium, being smaller in size, can attract the electrons easily, and therefore the electronegativity of lithium is greater than sodium. So can I say, since after lithium comes sodium, as you can see over here, that after lithium comes sodium, and as we move down in the group, the electronegativity decreases. Why it decreases? Because lithium has greater electronegativity than sodium, and as we are moving down, can I say that the electronegativity is decreasing? So this applies for the complete group, that as you move down, the electronegativity is going to decrease. So as you move from lithium to sodium, the electronegativity is going to decrease. As you move from sodium to potassium, again the electronegativity of the element is going to decrease. Similarly, can I say that potassium is going to have greater electronegativity than rubidium? Okay. So can I say that as you move from top to bottom along the group, the electronegativity is going to decrease. So guys, here we finish the trend in the electronegativity as we move across the period and as we move along the group. So guys, do check out my channel where I have uploaded physics and chemistry videos. They might be helpful for y'all. And guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more such interesting videos. Thank you for watching this video.